Mr. Speaker, I thank the honourable member for her important question. She will appreciate, I'm sure, that I cannot comment on the draft Code of Practice, but I want to reassure this House that trans people will continue to be protected from discrimination in the Equality Act. We will not treat this issue as a political football, as many others have done in the past. And as I set out in earlier answers, I intend to lay the draft code as soon as possible once we are through the election period.
Rupert Lowe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Women all over Britain, including in my constituency of Great Yarmouth, primarily on King Street, feel intimidated, harassed and abused in their own town centres. Disproportionately, this unacceptable behaviour is committed by young foreign men imported from cultures and religions that treat women like dirt on the bottom of their shoe. Will the Minister today commit to a national audit of street harassment, intimidation and sexual offending by nationality and immigration status so the British people can finally see the scale of the problem?
Sarah Sturt.
Here we go again, Mr. Speaker. I note that an investigation by a KC into the honourable member's conduct concluded that there was credible evidence that he had mistreated two female members in a way that, and I quote, Mr. Speaker, in a way that seemed to amount to harassment. I don't want to hear anything from him about violence against women and girls or harassment.
We now come to Prime Minister's questions. Gurinder Singh Josan.
Number one, Mr. Speaker.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the state visit by His Majesty the King is a powerful reminder of the deep and special relationship we have with the United States. Mr. Speaker, in this session of Parliament, this Labour government has delivered the biggest upgrade in workers' rights in a generation, the biggest improvement in renters' rights in a generation, and more action than any other government to tackle child poverty. At the King's speech, I look forward to setting out what more we will do to change our country for the better. Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. I shall have further such meetings later today.
Gurinder Singh Josan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I firstly thank you for meeting with me recently to view a 1,000-paper crane folded by residents in Bearwood as a recognition of the diversity of Smethwick in which neighbours and communities just get on with each other. Mr. Speaker, residents in my Smethwick constituency and across Sandwell benefit from the lowest council tax in the West Midlands, investment in new leisure centres, parks and all our libraries kept open. Sandwell's the third best in the country for fixing potholes, expanded breakfast clubs, free school meals and cheaper school uniforms for our children. Does the Prime Minister agree that this is all down to well-run Labour Sandwell Council and the changes brought back by this government, this Labour government, opposed at every opportunity by the Tories and Reform?
Can I thank him for his work to give every child the best start in life in his constituency? And I'm very glad that this government has done more than any other government to lift children out of poverty. Mr. Speaker, thanks to our work this session on this side of the House, we've passed laws needed to deliver more rights at work, build new homes, save British steel, clean up waterways, secure our borders and record funding of our NHS and so much more. Change delivered by Labour, opposed by the Tories and Reform.
We come to the Leader of the Opposition, Kemi.
Thank you. It's the end of this session, and what a contrast with the beginning, Mr. Speaker. Back in July 2024, those benches were full of sycophantic questions from adoring new MPs. Yesterday, the Prime Minister was reduced to begging those same MPs to save his own skin. Mr. Speaker, he's broken his promise to grow the economy. The only thing that's grown is the welfare bill. The only thing that's grown is the welfare bill. So can the Prime Minister tell us, how many more people are out of work and claiming universal credit since he took office?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, she talks about what we've done in relation to raising people out of work. We have the youth guarantee that we've put in place for young people. We've raised the national minimum wage thanks to our Chancellor. We've helped young people into work by cutting NHS waiting lists thanks to the work of the Health Secretary. We put more police on the streets thanks to the work of the Home Secretary, and we've cut energy bills for young people thanks to the work of the Energy. I'm very proud of what this Labour government has delivered in the first session of this Parliament.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister doesn't want to say how many more people, in fact, are out of work and claiming universal credit since he took office. Perhaps he doesn't know. So let me tell him. The number is 1.5 million people. That is the entire population of Leeds, Cardiff and Edinburgh put together. Hard-working people are being taxed more and more to pay for a ballooning benefits bill. So can the Prime Minister tell us why, on his watch, for the first time ever, we are now spending more on welfare than we earn in income tax?
Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the welfare system she complains of is the one they put in place, Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, we are reforming it to improve it. And what did they do when we put that forward? They voted to keep the same broken welfare system.
Mr. Speaker, that answer was as honest as his reason for sacking Ollie Robbins. Perhaps he'd like to apologise for that right now. Let me tell him why we're spending more on welfare than we're earning in tax. It's because of him and his terrible policies. This is all under him. We are spending so much on welfare, we cannot afford to defend the country. And if he won't listen to me, Mr. Speaker, perhaps he'll listen to the former Labour Defence Secretary, Lord Robertson, who is saying, and I quote, "We cannot defend Britain with an ever-expanding welfare budget." I agree with Lord Robertson. Why doesn't he?
Mr. Speaker, this is the Labour government that increased defence spending, the highest sustained spend since the Cold War. What did they do, Mr. Speaker? When they came into power, defence spending was 2.5%, and when they left power, it was 2.3%. And even their own Secretary of State admitted they hollowed out our armed forces, so we'll take no lectures from them on defence.
Mr. Speaker, talking about more defence spending is not the same as giving more money for defence. He has been in office for nearly 2 years, Mr. Speaker. What he does have, he's got a welfare plan until 2031, but he's not produced a defence investment plan. We have gone backwards on defence under him because we are borrowing to pay for welfare. Yesterday, we learned that the cost of government borrowing is now the highest in 2 decades. That's under him. Instead of getting a grip on the economy, the Chancellor is briefing out rent controls to curry favour with left-wing backbenchers. This is not a serious way to run the economy. It is time the Prime Minister gives her an easier job. So will he listen to businesses, listen to the country and reshuffle the Chancellor?
Mr. Speaker, at the spring statement, the Chancellor was very proud to say inflation was down to 3% and falling, 6 interest rates in a cut. We've seen the growth figures for the early part of this year. And she says, well, the cost of borrowing's gone up. Yes, because there's a conflict in Iran. And what did she want to do? What did she want to do when I said we wouldn't be dragged into that war because I thought through the consequences, including the economic consequences? What did she do? She said we should jump in with both feet without regard to the consequences. She can't complain now about the implications.
Mr. Speaker, I didn't hear him say he's not reshuffling the Chancellor. It sounds like she's toast. Meanwhile, the former Deputy Prime Minister is on manoeuvres. This government is like a bad episode of Game of Thrones. His own people have turned against him, and all the while, the Prime Minister is holed up in his castle, wetting himself about a visit from the King in the North. Yesterday, Mr. Speaker, one Labour MP actually said that his days are numbered. That's one of them. I wonder who it was, because they're all looking guilty as hell. Isn't the real reason, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Isn't the real reason the Prime Minister can't cut welfare that he squandered all his political capital saving his own skin?
Mr. Speaker, she talks about political games. That's what she was doing yesterday. This House considered our motion and rejected it decisively because everyone saw it for what it was, a desperate, baseless political stunt ahead of the May elections. And Mr. Speaker, whilst she and they were playing games here, I was chairing a meeting in Cobra, going through the contingencies and managing our war in the Middle East. Mr. Speaker, they think political games here is more important than managing the implications of the war in the Middle East, which will affect every single one of their constituents. And none of them ask any questions about it. None of them want to debate it. They just want to debate silly political stunts. Because, Mr. Speaker, even though we didn't join the war, no thanks to her, my duty is to protect the British public from the consequences, and nothing is going to distract me from what matters to the British public.
Mr. Speaker, I think the whole country is sick of this man's tone-deaf, pompous moralising. Last week, we all saw him punch the Speaker's chair. This is not a man who is in control. Since the last King's speech, it's been one disaster after another. Cronyism, jobs for friends of convicted paedophiles, peerages for other friends of convicted paedophiles, broken promises on taxes, U-turn after U-turn after U-turn. He's lost a Deputy Prime Minister, 2 Chiefs of Staff, 2 Cabinet Secretaries, the support of his backbenchers and all his credibility. Yes. They can jeer, Mr. Speaker, they can jeer as much as they like. They're going to have to go to their constituencies and explain to all those people why they did what they did last night. The fact is the Prime Minister was reduced to whipping his MPs to save him and pleading with a tax dodger to rejoin his cabinet. How much longer do we all have to put up with his shambles?
Mr. Speaker, I changed my party and I won a general election. She's changed her party, Mr. Speaker, because when I became leader of my party, their party was 3 times the size it is now. She's changed it. It's now even smaller than when she started at leader, because half of them are up there. And, Mr. Speaker, the stunt they played yesterday because they don't like what we're delivering. More rights at work, more security for renters, lifting 500,000 children out of poverty. That's our mandate, that's our mission, and nothing's going to hold us back.
It was 18 months ago, I remember, that my late friend Terry Etherton was sitting up there, beaming down at the Prime Minister because he had just announced the government scheme to give compensation to those who had been wrongly sacked from the armed forces for simply being gay. But I have a constituent, Mr. Speaker, who lost his job in MI6 in the 1980s for his sexuality, and he's got no compensation. The security services also put their lives on the line for their country. It's just not fair. Would the Prime Minister find the time to sit down with my constituent and me so that we can work out together the way in which we can extend Terry's scheme so that the security services can also get justice?